Hi there, Chuck Rogers, Windhurst Counseling Center. I want to take just a few moments to talk with you about something that comes up for us on a fairly regular basis at Windhurst. We are oftentimes contacted by students in need of help of completing an assignment that's given to them by their professor. And that assignment is to meet with in person or maybe email or have a phone conversation with a licensed professional, find out about what got them into this profession, how is it now, and various questions of the like. And due to the number of requests that we get, we've just made it a policy that we have to say no to requests for this assignment. And I've never liked saying no to that, and I've always felt rather bad about it. Now, this past week, I've actually gotten 2 more requests for that assignment and said no. But I thought, well, this is a problem, so maybe we can provide a solution for it. And I have an idea about how I want to try to solve that problem and be helpful for folks. And that is to do this video as maybe like a press release in the same way that a government official or maybe a coach for a sporting team would provide the questions and the answers for that for people. I'm going to just read through this list of questions that was given to me in this email and give you my answers for those as best I can. And I really hope that this is helpful. So the first question is, who did you interview? Where do they work? And what are their credentials? My name is Chuck Rogers, and I am a licensed professional counselor and licensed marriage and family therapist here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I currently am the founder and one of the counselors at Windhurst Counseling Center, but that's not where I always worked. I was very blessed to work for a little over 16 years at a local hospital, Virginia Baptist Hospital, which is a part of a larger system called Centra Health. For the first 8 years I was there, I worked with children and adolescents and their families. And for the last 8+ years, worked with adults. Did group therapy every day, individual counseling, marriage counseling, family counseling, as the case may be, and just a whole lot of group work. To begin with, on the children's unit, did a lot of what are called psychoeducational groups, where we would do all kinds of things. We would fill out worksheets and talk about them, or we would watch a video and talk about how it applied to the children personally or their families as a whole. And then was privileged enough to be able to sit in on psychotherapy groups and be a part of psychotherapy group, and then sit in on family sessions and be a part of family sessions. And then my career there just kind of took off from that point. And worked there a little over 16 years. And then for the last few years I was there, had a part-time private practice on the side. And then in 2004 decided to go ahead and resign from Virginia Baptist and take the part-time practice that I had and make it full-time. And so that's what I'm doing now. How long has your interviewee been licensed? Well, I was officially licensed as a licensed professional counselor in 1998, and then practiced on that license for a number of years, and only within the last few years, I'm not even sure how long, I have been a licensed marriage and family therapist as well. And both licenses really aren't needed at all. I could do everything that I wanted to do with just the first license, but I simply, honestly, got the second license because I could. And I just pay an extra fee every year to be licensed with 2 licenses as opposed to 1, and that's simply for marketing purposes. There really is no benefit to having 2 licenses. In our society, people like to see an alphabet soup behind people's names, and so therefore I have 2 licenses, and that's why. Does your interviewee specialize in any particular areas? If so, what? Officially on paper, I don't have any other specifications and really don't need them, although I tend to kind of operate in helping folks individually with depression and anxiety or just negative thoughts, the way that they talk to themselves. And I also do a great amount of couples work. And I get a lot of folks who are referred to me for those reasons. What theory or theories guide your interviewee's practice? When I'm working with individuals, I follow 2 different formats and use both of them. The first is that of solution-oriented therapy. I have followed the work of Michelle Weiner Davis out of Colorado. I've been out there on 2 different occasions and may go back at some point. Just very instrumental in helping me. Also follow the work of Dr. David Burns. Runs a very aggressive form of cognitive therapy. I have been to hear David on more than one occasion talk about cognitive therapy and how it applies to individuals. He also does a part as well in helping people relationally. So those, I guess, are the primary ways that I operate, out of a solution-oriented therapy mindset at times, and at times I'll use a very aggressive form of cognitive therapy as well. What does a typical day look like for your interviewee? Well, I tend to get up really early during the week, at least early for me. I get to the Y and work out. So usually get there around 6 o'clock and usually leave there but about 7:15 to 7:30. I get to my office. I have some time typically to myself and quiet time, and then begin my day with my clients about 10 a.m. and usually finish up by 6 p.m. I have honed the focus of my practice from the more traditional route of seeing folks for 45 minutes this week and next week and next week and so forth to a very intensive format. So if folks want to begin to see me, I ask that they be willing to see me for an entire day individually, or if it's a couple, an entire day, or sometimes 2 days. So it's 8 sessions in one day at least. So I'll meet with them for the person, the individual, for an entire day, and then we'll follow up as necessary in smaller increments. So I might spend one entire day just working with an individual or with a couple. Now, if I don't have an intensive schedule that day, I'm usually following up with people who I've already spent an entire day with in smaller increments, usually 90-minute sessions as opposed to the traditional 45. The research is that people get better faster, and it's actually cheaper for them to use 90-minute sessions as opposed to the traditional 45. So sometimes I can have several sessions in a day, sometimes I'll spend an entire day with an individual or with a couple. And that's what my day typically looks like. What does your interviewee like and dislike about his or her job? I have a great job, I really do. I often kind of joke, but I'm very serious about it, in that I get to sit on nice furniture and drink really wonderful coffee and talk to really great people, and I get paid to do that. So who wouldn't like that, right? So that's great, and I love to see people make progress. I think it's wonderful. I get to celebrate with them in their successes. And the other side of that, I guess, is that not only do I get to celebrate with them and their successes, but sometimes I get to feel their pain as well. As you know, sometimes folks aren't as successful as fast as they want to be, and life's out there. And so the pro is you get to rejoice with them when things are great, and the downside is that it's sad to sit with people sometimes through their sadness. So I guess that would be the downside of my job. How does your interviewee prevent burnout? I think that is probably different for everybody, and you have to lean into what works for you, because what works for me might not work for somebody else. Part of, I think, preventing burnout is that 5 days a week I'm physically active. 4 of those days I go to the Y and work out, and 1 day a week, at least at this juncture of my life, I'm at home on the elliptical. And some folks will say, "Hey, Chuck, did you have a good workout?" And I'm like, well, I never have a good workout. I think that my workout is profitable, or I think that it was a good thing that I worked out. I really admire those folks who say, "Hey, I can't get to the Y, can't wait till I get to the Y." I am not one of those people. I dread going to the Y. I don't like it while I'm there, and I look forward to leaving, and I'm grateful when I'm able to leave and go, "Whew, got that part of my day over with." So I don't enjoy it, but I think that it's helpful, very helpful that I go. So that's one of the things that I do that prevents burnout. I have my scheduled quiet time with God. That's very helpful. And I have people that also put energy back into me. I have a time that I set aside, and my best friend sets time aside, and he and I meet at Starbucks every Wednesday at this time. for about an hour and a half every week, and we text back and forth and chat intermittently during the day as well. My wife says, "You guys text like middle school girls," and I said, "Yeah, that's probably true," but it's that ongoing relationship that he and I have that is very beneficial for both of us. So I think you've got people and things that take energy out of you. You've got to have at least that equal amount of people and things that put energy back into you, or you will get into burnout. So I think what works for me may or may not work for other people. So you've got to find that rhythm that works for you and then stay in that rhythm. If you get out of that rhythm, I think you end up being kind of lopsided. What advice would you give a counseling student? Well, I would say to finish your education and really lean into your practicums and lean into your internships and see how that feels and see what you like. When I was at the hospital, I had lots of interns all the time that made their way through our program, and what I would tell them is that if you leave here loving your internship, it's been a success. If you leave here hating your internship, it has indeed been a success as well, because you know that's something that you don't like. And so I think sometimes you have to try on the garment, so to speak, to see if it fits you. So just get out there, jump into an internship. My undergraduate internship was with hospice, very, very rewarding internship. I learned a tremendous amount from it, really did. And then my graduate school internships took place there at the hospital where I worked, and and those were all very rewarding for me. So I would say just get into your internship and see what it feels like, see what you like, see what you kind of don't like, and then just go out and begin to get employment. And if it fits you, great, stay in it. If it doesn't seem to fit you, great, get out of it and try some other things. And don't be afraid to try various things, because you don't know what it's going to feel like until you put it on, so to speak. I mean, how many times in your life have you tried something only to think, this is so great, this is wonderful, and then after you've been in it for a while, you go, geez, this is not what I thought it was. I hate this. On the inverse, it's also true that you do some things sometimes you think, I don't think I really like that, and maybe you don't like it to begin with, but later on you say, I can't even begin to imagine my life without this. So I would say get out there and try stuff. Well, I think that's all that I have to say about this. I hope it's been very helpful for you. Blessings to you on your journey.